we jump into the start of the conversation, folks, and the question I'm being asked a lot by, of course, you the fans is, Stephen, are we going to have a college football season? Is this going to happen? We have seen the cases for the coronavirus increase, growing larger by the day. We have seen the concerns of people in national media, the concerns of players. Are we going to have a college football season? Because if this does not happen, Stephen, I'm going to lose my mind. We already got people losing their mind as it is, just due to we're not having a lot of live sports. But if college football does not happen, Stephen, I'm going to go ballistic. So are we going to have truly a college football season? That is the concern. That's the thought on a lot of the faces of fans. And for me, two reasons why Alabama will have a college football season. There'll be an Alabama football season. There'll be a college football season. And the first of the two reasons comes from Mayor Walter Maddox here in Tuscaloosa. And Mayor Maddox, according to CBS 42, he had a press conference today. And in that press conference, he talked about how much football is valued in Tuscaloosa, in surrounding areas, most importantly, the state of Alabama. If the Crimson Tide does not have a football season, Tuscaloosa could be looking at losing up to $2 billion. That's billion with a B. Up to $2 billion in revenue. That's a lot of money. And I understand, at the end of the day, the health and safety of our players, or of the players, is a big deal. The health and safety of the fans, a big deal as well. But also at the same time, you look at an entity that brings in a lot of money, brings in a lot of infrastructure, brings in a lot of jobs, brings in just a lot of things, and including it ups the student enrollment as well. And by this, I'm talking about, Alabama football. Just bringing up the enrollment here for just a moment, and I got a chance to attend the university as an undergraduate from 2011 to 2015. When I would see students coming in from Georgia, from Florida, from New York, from California, from Texas, from all states and all walks of life, and they would come to Alabama, leaving behind programs, leaving behind schools and institutions that had great football programs, but they chose to come to Alabama because, like the old saying goes, other programs, they play football. At Alabama and Tuscaloosa and Birmingham and surrounding areas, we breathe the gridiron game. Football is a way of life. Football is a culture. Football is religion. Football, for a lot of people here, you base your life, around the game, around the sport of football. So it does a lot for this city. It does a lot for the state. And the main thing that Mayor Maddox wants to do is find a way to effectively, efficiently create a way to where Alabama can have the whole football season. So if no football season, period, we're looking at a loss of up to $2 billion in revenue. But if there's a abbreviated season, you're still having negative pushback, because that brings in the restriction of fans, how many fans can be in there, how much spacing can be provided, and number of other, different situations that would provide, trial and error. So right now, Mayor Maddox is trying to figure out the best way to effectively have a full football season where you can have the players in the right situation, the coaches in the right situation, the fans in the right situation, and how everybody can sort of profit off of this. So number one reason that football will happen for the college game and for Alabama, most importantly, is, it brings in the money, it brings in the revenue, it brings a lot of things to the table. And not having the gridiron game, Mayor Maddox used the words, it would be an economic catastrophe if Alabama did not have a season tied football important to the community. The number two reason as to why we will have football is, going back to Wednesday of last week, the NCAA Division I Council, it approved a 6-week preseason practice plan. It approved the practice plan. Now, the plan was at first brought up to the NCAA Oversight Committee, and so the Oversight Committee approved it, and it got to the COVID-19 Advisory Panel. It approved it, and so now the NCAA Division I Council has approved the plan. So on the Oversight Committee, it was Shane Lyons, who is the committee chair. He's also the athletic director at West Virginia University. So the model that's been put into place in terms of the 6-week preseason plan here, there's a 3-part model. So what does this mean for Alabama football? Simple. For right now, the players will continue working with coaches David Ballou and Dr. Matt Ray in the in-person voluntary workout. So those workouts, they started on June the 8th, according to the presidents, each president of the SEC, of an SEC school. So the workout started June the 8th. They will go until June 25th. So as of right now, Alabama will continue in the weight conditioning, in the strength conditioning, in the speed training, flexibility, injury prevention training of David Ballou and Dr. Ray. When July 13th comes into fray, this opens up phase 1. So July 13th to July 23rd, Alabama athletes will have up to 8 hours of weight training, conditioning, and film review per week. So up to 8 hours per week of all 3 of these things. This means the players would get their time with coaches Ballou and Ray in the weight training and conditioning, but also they get that time to watch film, whether that film would be breaking down different formations, breaking down different systems, different strategies, different plays. For example, let's say Coach Saban walks in and he puts up a formation on the screen, and you're able to, within that formation, you learn a new play. Within that formation, you learn a new strategy. You learn a new system, a new scheme, and Coach Saban and the coaching staff would be breaking down, why that put that scheme in, why is that play in, what is this formation, and everything that those things would entail. So from July 13th through the 23rd, it would be phase 1 of this, being everybody would get up to 8 hours of weight conditioning, weight training, conditioning, and also that film review. So that would be part 1. Part 2 would come in from July 24th to August 6th. And this is where the fun stuff comes in, John. So part 2 would be 20 countable hours of athletic activities. So Alabama would have 8 hours of the weight training and the conditioning with Ballou and Ray. But after those 8 hours, it would have up to 6 hours of walkthroughs, which would include a football. Here is where it gets fun, John. And this is where I would love to see Nick Saban do this. I would love to see Nick Saban have the media involved, giving us the opportunity to get on the field and get this stuff on film, get this stuff on camera, get this stuff out here on social media. Because the 6 hours of walkthroughs, this would include things like 7-on-7, 11-on-11, where players are actually on the practice field with the football, and Coach Saban and his staff are going over, this is why we attack like this. This is why we are aggressive like this. This is how you take the angle away. This is how we're tackling. And being able to catch those freshmen that did not have spring football up to speed, and then also get some of the experienced guys up to speed on the nuances that are happening, especially the guys that did not play last year, your Dylan Moseses, your Joshua McMillans, because of injury. So those 6 hours of walkthroughs would be really, really cool, especially if Coach Saban would allow the media to get on the field and document that and get that. And then behind those two, you would have your 6 hours of meetings. These would be team meetings, player meetings, coaches meetings, one-on-one meetings. Here is that situation where you would have the evaluations that you didn't have, back in the spring due to the outbreak of the coronavirus global pandemic. So part 2 of this, from July 24th to August 6th, Alabama would have the 8 hours of weight training and conditioning, the 6 hours of walkthroughs, which would include a football, and then the 6 hours of meetings. And then during this 14-day period, the players could have at least 2 days off there. And then last but not least, phase 3 of the model, if everything is ready to set sail, providing the season starts on the week of September the 5th, then part 3 of the model would be, Alabama would start fall camp, preseason camp on August the 7th. And we all know how fall camp goes. The first, initiation of the camp would be, Coach Saban and his wife, Miss Terry. They would be inside, Bryant-Denny, and they would have the Knicks Kids function to where, you would have the Knicks Kids Foundation function. Players would be signing posters, signing things for the children. Of course, Coach Saban would make his speech on the function going on and the importance of Knicks Kids and how it goes to helping out the youth in the community, how they are really being involved and taking Tuscaloosa to the next steps forward. So, Saban and Miss Terry would speak on those things. And then after the Knicks Kids function, that first weekend in August, either that Saturday or that Sunday, you would have the media day portion to where Coach Saban would have the defensive coordinator and the offensive coordinator speak for the first time. It would be one of the 2 times they would get to speak in front of the media. And then after that, things would transition to, Bryant-Denny. You would get a chance to interview the players for an allotted period of time, get your questions, get your pictures, get your video. The team would take the team photo, and then the press would be whisked away inside of the press box to watch the 2 hours of the practice. And the very next week, you would start the full fall camp from Monday on until the start of the regular season. So with Mathematics figuring out ways to effectively and efficiently make sure, Alabama has that football season, seeing how important the gridiron game is to everybody, that would be reason 1. And then reason 2, the NCAA Division Council approving the 6-week preseason practice plan, which would give Alabama the chance to take back what it lost in spring due to the coronavirus pandemic. Phase 1 would be July 13th to the 23rd, up to 8 hours of doing different things. Phase 2 would be July 24th through August 6th, which would include the walkthroughs. And then phase 3 would be August 7th, starting the fall camp. But we take our first break here on the show to kick off this Monday. Don't touch that dial. Just getting you started. Upon our return, we unpack your questions, your phone calls, your thoughts, your tweets, your texts, your concerns. It's time for Talk Alabama Football with your man, and you can do that right after this.
Every sports fan deserves the proper representation. Whitwell Sports introduces to you the Title Towel. Wave that Title Towel in the air like you just don't care in support of Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Only $9.99 and it lasts a lifetime. Head on over to whitwellsports.com and get your Title Towel today. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $5.95 per month or pay $49.95 for a full year subscription. That's a saving of almost $22. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
Thank you for watching Touchdown Alabama Magazine's YouTube channel. To continue to get the best in Alabama football content, subscribe here and turn on your notifications to stay connected with the hottest shows covering your Crimson Tide.